Well, preview season nears its end, and today is Notre Dame, tomorrow's Ohio State. That's it. Two to go. Preview season rolls on here on Armchair Analysis. Welcome into this Friday edition of the show. Hope y'all are having a good week so far, getting ready for a great weekend. Battlefield 6 beta, anybody? Just me? Okay. No, but seriously though, that's kind of what I've been looking forward to outside of these videos, but yeah, we've got a really cool weekend. Of course, finishing moving into the house, so it's going to be busy. Uploads are today's upload's going to be off schedule, but tomorrow we'll be back at 1 p.m. Next week we will be back on schedule and back on the regular schedule of Monday to Friday. No more weekends until we hit week 0. With that in mind, if you're new around here, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. We are trying to hit 200 subscribers before week 0, and we've got about 15 days to do it. I think we can get it done, but I need your guys' help. Leave that like, subscribe, help other eyes get to this channel. Get us there. We're that close. We've pushed really hard through the preview season. I'm hoping we can get through these last couple days. Next week we kick off conference previews. We're going to do the full group of 5 next week. MAC, Conference USA, Sun Belt, I think, and then Mountain West and American, I think is the way we're going to do that order. I may just do it in, well, no, I'm already a little late to do alphabetical order, so that's probably what we're going to do. And then the week after that, we're going to do Power 4 previews, kind of talk about everything we think there, leading into a Friday episode, which will be my college football road trip. I'm excited for that. And then the next week, it's all week 0 preview. It's talking about best bets. My Take 10 is coming back next year. We've done really good. We've been above 500 both years prior to unfortunate timings and stops in my Take 10. But the Take 10 comes back this year, and I'm excited for that. Really, really pumped to continue to roll forward with that on Fridays. We'll have, of course, regular previews going on. We got a lot of stuff going on throughout the course of this season, so please stick around. Also, this is not staying. I had to kind of makeshift eraser yesterday at work, and it ended up being that the goatee was the option for a day. So tomorrow we'll be back with the regularly scheduled look as well. No, I do not want to look like Danny McBride, no matter how cool that guy is. I can't be as funny. So we're going to just stick here and roll on. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all enjoy this show. And yeah, let's get into the real conversation, which is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a team that last year went 14-2 and made the national championship game. They go on to lose by 10 to the national champions, of course, the Ohio State Buckeyes, who we will preview tomorrow. But this is a team that did a lot of good last year and really, really showed themselves as legitimate contenders, and Marcus Freeman proved himself as a head coach. This year, they're looking to take that next step. But they're going to have to do it in a couple of ways differently than last year. One of them being a brand new quarterback and maybe even less impact from the quarterback run game. Of course, last year they had Riley Leonard jumped into this offense, took off, was really solid. This year is not going to be the case. CJ Carr is my projected starter for this team. I'm just telling you right now, that's not going to be the case. But they are going to rely on Jeremiah Love. We'll talk a little bit more about that and the Heisman contender that he is going into this season. This team averaged 36.1 points per game. That was 10th in the sport. They were 15.5 points per game allowed. That was 5th. Turnover margin was plus a 1.1 turnovers per game. That's 4th in college football. A 12th ranked recruiting class, a 58th ranked portal class, 12th ranked recruiting. Marcus Freeman's back, Mike Denbrock, and Chris Ash as the defensive coordinator here of the Irish. And again, they're really looking forward to what they can bring into the table this year. 6 returning starters on offense, including Jeremiah Love, Jaden Greathouse, and 4 offensive linemen. That's a big deal when you got a freshman quarterback. And that's why I project such success for this Notre Dame team this year, is because I think that experienced offensive line it may not happen early because they have 2 really tough games. They play Miami, get a week off, and then they play Texas A&M at Miami, at home against Texas A&M. Those 2 games are going to be tone setters, but it's going to be a matter of how does this O-line hold up over the course of the season. How can they stay healthy? Can they stay healthy? And if so, how efficient are they at protecting CJ Carr? Because this is a young quarterback. This is his first chance starting in any real games. He's getting thrown to the fire immediately. If he stays protected, stays healthy, This team has a true chance to compete and maybe even win another national championship. Another one, as in the first one in many of our lifetimes. But to win a national championship, to get back to the top of the sport, as their intentions are when they moved on from, well, when Brian Kelly moved on, and they brought in Marcus Freeman, this is the success they expected. It didn't start off great. They've had their moments. But this year really looks like that type of year for them. Should all things and all pieces fall together, especially, again, I can't emphasize it enough. It sounds silly because I've gotten the comment before, well, quarterback means a lot to every team. Of course it does. But it means a lot more when you are a team that's already competitive for a national title. When I'm talking about Northwestern, of course quarterback's going to be important. Preston Stone is an experienced quarterback coming into a young roster. Maybe not quite as young as others, but an inexperienced roster, to say the least, an unproven roster at Northwestern. Of course that's going to look different. Ethan Kaliamanis at Rutgers now takes over as kind of the guy because Kyle Monangai is gone. And we don't know who the running back number one is going to be. They got 3 or 4 of them that they could pick. Quarterback matters at Rutgers. Quarterback matters at Tennessee when you have Joey Aguilar, who's never played a down at the Power 4 level, has transferred to UCLA and now came in late to Tennessee. And he may just be the starter over and have that. Sorry, it may just be the starter. I kind of got ahead of myself. And Tennessee has a lot to prove because they lost a lot last year. Bo Perbula at Missouri, projected starter, has a lot to prove. But even if it's not him, don't come at me. I don't want to hear it. Even if it's not him, Missouri's quarterback position still has a lot to prove. Ohio State has a lot to prove, but guess what? They have a national championship caliber roster still laid in front of them. They just have different coaching staff now. A lot of changes were made over there. Notre Dame's in a similar spot. Few coaching changes, quarterback change, offensive line stays the same. National championship caliber roster. The defense is going to be lights out. I'm already telling you that immediately. Moving on, though, they got Jeremiah Love, of course, coming back. Star running back, Heisman contender. Not even questioning it, not even faltering on that statement. Heisman contender. Not going to project him to New York. You guys are going to have to wait until the Heisman prediction segment in a couple of weeks for that. But I do think that he is going to be a true Heisman contender. Jadarian Price is going to be a great spell guy for Jeremiah Love. Does a lot of things similarly. Does a really good job at what he's able to do. Plays his role well. That's going to be a good pairing in the backfield. Jaden Greathouse is a guy that they're really excited for coming back and going to be the leader of this wide receiver room, but they're also pumped for 2 transfers they bring in. Malachi Fields comes over from Virginia, and then they bring in Will Pauling from Wisconsin. And Will Pauling's a guy that my eyes are specifically on because I want to see him succeed. We've seen him at Wisconsin, and he really hasn't got the chances because the quarterback play at Wisconsin has not been good in the Luke Fickell era. That's just a fact. But what is not a fact is the fact that Will Pauling is not a good receiver. That's not a fact. And the fact that the opinion that could be the case, I think is a little blasphemous. We just haven't seen him in an offense that can utilize him to his potential. This is one that can. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's able to do. They also have Jordan Faison, who they are really excited to have on the field a lot more this year, kind of opening up his opportunities and opportunities to make plays. This wide receiver room is I think, underrated, personally. I think they're going to be good, especially for what CJ Carr needs early, and they're going to be able to build up on this playbook, build up on this play calls, be more confident later in the season to the point where they can win big games, like when they go on the road to face Pitt or go on the road to Boston College or even home games against USC, Boise, a road trip to Arkansas. Like, they can win those games because of how they're going to propel and kind of progress this offense over the course of the year. Eli Raridan is going to be the projected starting tight end. And again, 4 or 5 on the offensive line. This is a team that's going to run the ball at you, and they're going to throw when they need to. You got to think, when you look at this offense, and this is all speculation because, again, I'm not an insider. I don't have the inside information. I don't know. I don't get told who's going to play, who's not going to play. I have to do the same research everybody else does. But what I can tell you is that what I would expect and the way I would run this offense, probably similar to the way a lot of people would. Heavy dose of Jeremiah Love, heavy dose of the run game in general, getting Jadarian Price the ball as well, and others in the running back room. Even utilizing Jordan Faison as a running back, I think could be a play. I'm not saying it's going to be. I'm saying what I would do, okay? What I'm saying is a heavy dose of the run game allows that to build CJ Carr's confidence to then throw the ball and get some play action passing game, get some short screen passes, get him familiar with this offense. About time you hit that Boise State game, you can let it rip, because that's October. That's time to go. This team can certainly win their way to the playoff again. They 100% can. They have a lot of games that are going to give them opportunities to do that, because they're going to have wins over a lot of plus 500 teams or 500 and above teams. It's just a matter of how quick they get them sorted. I think it's going to be a very quick transition. I don't think it's going to be the Miami game. I think he's going to maybe see those young quarterback struggles, the immaturity, the lack of decision-making even. But I think by the time we go to that Texas A&M game, maybe even in that Purdue game on September 20th, that'll be about the time that he starts really sorting it out, figuring it out, getting comfortable, becoming the player that we expect him to be. And by we, I mean college football media. That's what I mean. This defense, when you look at them again, Chris Ash is defensive coordinator. They got 5 returning starters, 10 of 11 players projected to start, return from the 24 roster. The only the only player that has transferred in that's projected to start is Devonta Smith, safety coming over from Alabama, not the wide receiver, of course. But Devonta Smith's a big addition to this defense. They, of course, have had this rotation of strong safeties, Xavier Watts, Kyle Hamilton over the last 5 to 8 years now. And they're really looking to continue that rotation of really stout safety play. And Devonta Smith's the guy that I think can really step in and make those kinds of plays, be that kind of difference maker in the secondary. You look at the rest of this team, of course, they got Drake Bowen, who led the team in tackles last year with 78. He also led the team in forced fumbles with 3. Joshua Burnham leads the team in returning tackles for loss with 7. Donovan Hinnish leads the team in sacks with 4.5 last year. And then Adon Schuler, along with Christian Gray, lead the team in returning interceptions. There was something I needed to look at here, and I'm going to just go ahead and do it while you're watching, because there are things that sometimes I need to double check and make sure I'm not missing. And in fact, so the other thing is, name we didn't mention in here is Leonard Moore at cornerback, and what he can bring to the table himself. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the sport, especially graded as one of the best in the sport. He's projected to be, I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't looked at draft boards, but I would expect him to be probably a day one pick at the NFL level right now. Now, depending upon what teams are looking for, sure, that could fall to day 2, but I think he's a first or second round guy based on what I've read about him. Given that being the case, I think Leonard Moore is going to be a difference maker too. I think this secondary is going to be really solid in my mind. This defense as a whole is going to be really good. This is a team, again, that allowed 15.5 points per game last year. It was top 5. I could see a very similar number being put up here in 25. When you look at this team and names to watch, for me, it's Will Pauling. I'm very, very intrigued by what he can bring to the table and what he can be for this offense this year. He's a guy that, again, is projected to be probably 4th string receiver, maybe even 5th. But I think that when he gets on the field, he's going to make the most of it and really prove himself as a valuable piece to this offense. He's a guy that my eyes are on anytime he's on the field when I watch this Notre Dame team play. Moving on to the schedule, and we'll go ahead and pull it up here. This is a team that sits right now at an over-under of 10.5. Their odds to win a national championship are plus 1,500. They are projected to be one of the best teams in college football, and a lot of people are going to say this team's overrated or doesn't deserve it or whatever have you. I'm telling you, this is a team that I would not doubt. I think Marcus Freeman, especially after the handful of upsets they've faced over the first few years of his tenure, of course, Marshall in Northern Illinois now, they are really looking to turn this thing around and figure out a way to close the deal in the games that they should win and continue to be the fighters that they are in the games that are going to be close. And they've done a really good job the last few years of continuing to push through even the adversity that has been faced over the course of the first few years of the Marcus Freeman era. With that said, you look at the schedule, and their road trips include trips to Miami, Arkansas, Boston College, Pitt, and Stanford. They have home games against Syracuse, Navy. I think Navy is actually no, it doesn't look like it is. Usually Navy ends up being a neutral site game, but it looks like that's not the case this year. But nonetheless, they have that game against Navy. They have Syracuse, USC. Boise State's going to be an interesting one to watch. Texas A&M, of course, is going to be a tough one. It'll be interesting to watch them maneuver it. Let's go ahead and predict 12 games here as I see it going down. You start off with that home road trip on August 31st, Sunday night in Miami, and I think they're going to take a loss there. For me, it's experienced quarterback play. And while we've seen Carson Beck turn the ball over quite a bit over the course of his career in the bigger games, I think that there's going to be a part of that that's fixed. I'm still curious about his health and wondering what he's going to look like. And we'll talk more about that as we get closer to the season and the more we hear out of fall camp. But that's going to be a question mark. But the other question mark is, of course, CJ Carr and his composure. How is he going to play? And that's his first start. That's his first opportunity to be the guy at Notre Dame. It's a lot to ask to go to Miami and face a team that's that good, as good as they are going to be this year, and win a game. I think Miami's going to start off 1-0. Notre Dame takes the loss. The best thing in the world is this bye week, though, because that bye week's going to give them an opportunity to really address everything immediately and come out ready to go against Texas A&M, which is a team they beat last year in Kyle's Field in College Station. And this is a team that I think they can beat again. The way they're going to control the ground game is going to be a big deal. But, of course, at the same time, this is where it's going to happen, where I believe the transition and the start for CJ Carr to really become the leader of this offense at the quarterback position, I think they get the win here. They'll beat Purdue and go on the road to Arkansas on September 27th. I think they'll win that game as well. I think that's going to be one of their first. I think this Arkansas game might be one of their tougher games outside of those first two. We have a handful here that are tough games. This Arkansas game is going to be interesting because of how Taylor Green operates and the way that he's able to really make plays happen, both through the air and on the ground. This is a game that I think you kind of put a stamp on, like need to keep an eye on it. At the end of the day, I think Notre Dame wins. It'll be a close game. This game against Boise is interesting to me because everybody is still really hyped about Boise State, what they can be, what they were last year. How can they push forward and be a playoff team yet again? How can they maybe compete better in the playoffs? I don't really think that's a question that we need to ask, because I don't know that they are there yet. And especially with Ashton Jeanty gone, we don't really know what this team looks like. That was a dynamic playmaker that comes around once in a while, and so what does Boise look like offensively? How does their defense hold up? I just think that we saw them get overmatched by Penn State in the playoffs. And then we watched Notre Dame play really good at the line of scrimmage and play up to the level of Penn State at the line of scrimmage. Knowing what we know from there, knowing what's coming back for Notre Dame, I think that the dominance on the line of scrimmage is going to be the key here. I think they will win this game, and I don't particularly see it being overly close. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a 3-score game or more. I'm saying it's probably going to be 1 to 3 scores and a game that Boise maybe hangs around in for a little bit, but eventually Notre Dame's just too good and pulls away. Too strong, too good at line of scrimmage. They'll eventually win. They're going to win over NC State. I really don't see this being an overly competitive ball game. I think that NC State's got a lot to work out. They'll be 5-1 going into that game against USC, where they'll get the win there as well. I think that we're still talking about USC as improving, and I think that's going to continue to happen, especially with Danton Land as the defensive coordinator. What can USC do to build their strength on the line of scrimmage? I think that's their biggest fault at this moment, and certainly we don't know what Jaden Mayav is going to be, but right now my biggest question mark is what are they at the line of scrimmage? And at the moment, I think that that's where Notre Dame's winning a lot of these games, especially in games where they are just a better team. It's going to be because they are just better at the line of scrimmage. They'll get a bye week, go on the road to Chestnut Hill, face Boston College, and I think they'll walk out with a win. Boston College got too many question marks. Again, similarly, line of scrimmage play. That's the difference maker. We'll say the same against Navy. I love Navy. As a veteran, not a Marine Corps veteran, the Navy is a team that I really follow, really have like, that's the bias that's going to show is Navy, if there's going to be one, especially in the Army-Navy game, because Navy beat Army. However, this Navy team, I just don't see being able to match at the line of scrimmage. It's kind of been the biggest question mark. We saw that last year. I don't believe, well, it wasn't. It was, as a matter of fact. Both these teams came in with, well, one loss or less, actually, because of the Northern Illinois game last year. But both these teams came in ranked and thought that there was going to be a competitive game. And unfortunately, Blake Horvath can only do so much for this Navy offense. I think that's going to be similar this year. Notre Dame probably controls that game. This road game against Pitt, that's another game that I think they could certainly take a loss in. And this Pitt team is going to be really good. I wholeheartedly believe it. I think they're going to be a team that contends to go to Charlotte this year. The problem is that Miami's supposed to be really good. Clemson is certainly going to be really good. Louisville's going to be good. Like, there's a bunch of teams that are kind of up this year. The ACC kind of did a 180 on what they were last year. A lot of really competitive, good teams this year. Nothing against Pitt, but they also have a really tough back end of their schedule, and it starts with this Notre Dame game before they play Georgia Tech. In between that, Notre Dame and Miami, they'll close out the year. It's just a tough one for Pitt to close it out. I think Notre Dame's going to get the job done in this one. Just again, I think their ability to control the game, but I think at this point, CJ Carr we're going to know what he is. I think what we're going to know is that he's going to be a really solid quarterback for this team. They'll beat Syracuse at home and then go out to Stanford, get the win. I think 11-1 is what we're looking at once again here in 2025, and I don't believe that that's really far off. I think that certainly we have question marks about CJ Carr, and we should, because we have not seen him play. But there again, there's not many teams that are going to be able to hang physically with this Notre Dame team. I think that's going to really help out CJ Carr and his ability to, again, work on his decision-making and build himself as a quarterback and really allow him to be able to play more conservative and just get comfortable with the offense, especially early in the year. And then as they go down the stretch, I think it's going to ultimately just get better and better. That's where I stand with this team right now, this Notre Dame team. Of course, you'll see that final option or my final prediction for Notre Dame when we get to the playoff predictions, because there's no conference for Notre Dame. They are independent still. We will not be doing any more preview on Notre Dame until we get to the Miami preview, which will be a preview in week 1 that we go over. And yeah, I'm super excited. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're getting closer and closer to the college football season, and it's just a blast to be a part of it. It's a blast to have it coming around. And yeah, with that said, tomorrow you will see the final of preview season. Ohio State, we will have completed 68 teams in 69 nice days. Really excited for that. And then we get into conference previews and all that stuff. Again, we'll continue to roll through this 1 p.m. Eastern every single day, except for today. Sorry, it's 1 p.m. right now, actually, as I'm finishing this recording. So you'll see this one a little late today, but we'll be back on the right schedule starting tomorrow. And then we'll see you again on Monday after that. So thank you for tuning in again. If you're new, leave a like. Subscribe, please. We're trying to hit 200 by week 0. And make sure you stick around. Comment down below. And we'll see you guys tomorrow with the final preview season video, the Ohio State Buckeyes.